I don't care what anyone says. That game was fantastic, and it's unfortunate that they came out on the losing end. Hawks lose 2-1 in the shootout against the Nashville Predators on Wednesday Night Hockey. And one of the best goalie performances I've seen in quite a while. Outside of the playoffs last year that Corey Crawford put up in the qualifier against Edmonton and the first round against Vegas, he looked stellar in basically his swan song. Outside of that, Kevin Lankinen's performance tonight was one of the best performances I have seen from a goaltender, and a Blackhawks goaltender, since Crawford in like the playoffs. Like, unreal effort. I wasn't a huge regular season watcher back a couple of years ago, but I did watch a lot of the playoffs, if not all of the playoffs, when I was young, from pretty much 2014 on. Lankinen was phenomenal, man. He looked stellar. 41 saves on 42 shots. Yeah, he let up the one on the shootout. But what a game from Kevin Lankinen. This dude, it has something special. I heard about him when the Finnish team won the World, forget exactly, I think it was the World Juniors. Not 100% sure. Someone can fact check me on that. And it was the Finnish crew, and Kevin Lankinen was their starting goaltender. And I had heard that he was like a backup goalie for the Rockford Ice Hogs. And I was like, oh great, this is awesome. Why don't give him a shot, right? I was kind of happy to see his name on the taxi squad this year, and his first start looked good against Florida. He's been looking really good for us, and then this game just absolutely sold it on national television, making 40-plus saves in a regular game. Like, I think he was one shot short of 40 saves throughout regulation. Like, he made one or two saves in overtime. Unbelievable performance by Kevin Lankinen. Let's talk about the game. Through the first period was uneventful as 5 shots by each team in the first period, just 10 total shots in the entire period. And when you have only 10 shots between both teams, it's pretty easy to see a scoreless game after one. So nothing really interesting happened. And honestly, if I was, just a casual watcher and missed the first half of this game, you missed pretty much nothing. About halfway through the second period here, Nashville's power play, they're on the power play, and it's winding down, and a shot from Ellis is blocked by Lankinen, and then he makes another stop, and then another stop. Stops about 3 shot attempts from the Nashville Predators to end the power play and keep the game scoreless. Now we keep going down to about 5.5 minutes to go in the second. Hawks are on the power play now, and Kane just moving into the Predators zone, just a perfect pass, such a saucy pass over to Kubalik, who one-times it as he's sliding down, and Saros makes a great stop. And that shot really reminded me of the 2 power play goals Kubalik had against Florida in the overtime loss there. That was really good, and a bit of a shame that Kubalik wasn't able to bury this one. Under 30 seconds to go, a shot that's from, I think it was Kane, goes and deflects up. Saros can't handle it, and just a mad scramble ensues. And there's a bunch of white jerseys and a bunch of yellow jerseys. You can't really pick out what's happening here, but a couple shots from the Hawks, and Saros was able to hold the fort at the end of the second. And we go into the third period scoreless, and the second period proved to be much, much more eventful. Both teams pretty much doubled their shot count from the first period, so that's a step forward. But man, when you get to the third period, this is the type of defensive game. This third period is the perfect example of why hockey can be enjoying and hockey can be exhilarating, even if there's little to no scoring. Another quick note before we get into the third period: the Hawks were losing the face-off battle 73-27. That is just unacceptable through 2 periods. You cannot do that. That is Not good at all, and that's how you lose hockey games right there. Now, this goal is just an embarrassing defensive collapse by the Hawks here. Connor Murphy slips. He gets a pretty weak pass to Kurashev. He can't handle it. They try to clear it. Tries to make a play. He just gets blown off by Cousins, and Cousins drives in and bangs it past Lankinen. If the defense did its job, there would have been no chance. They wouldn't even had it into the zone, most likely. The Hawks may have cleared it down. Who knows what had happened, but it definitely was not going in our zone and not in the back of our net. That was an ugly display from the Hawks defense. They have to be better than that. They have to be. And that's been the only weakness I've seen from Lankinen. He's not been the best at stopping shots on breakaways. And then just wonderful right off the face-off, practically. Philip Forsberg is going to get a shot on Lankinen, and he somehow makes the stop. Like, you have to be better. You just let up a goal in the back of your net, and you're going to let them get another shot, like another good shot at Lankinen right there? Tighten up. Come on. You guys need to tighten up. Please. Do something. Defensively, please. And then this was just wonderful. Hawks are on the penalty kill, the Hawks are on the power play, and Philip Forsberg is in the box. The power play ends. Philip Forsberg comes out of the box. Calvin DeHaan has no awareness of the situation, and Philip Forsberg just basically takes the puck away from him, starts to turn it around because he has to turn it around here. So DeHaan has a good chance at maybe getting something. He gets a breakaway practically, and Lankinen makes a great pad stop to avoid Calvin DeHaan having a complete embarrassment of basically 3 minutes. Just absolutely awful. I saw that afterwards, right after that. Every time it was on the ice, I was nervous as hell, and I was basically telling Colleton, get him off the ice. He has been awful today. He needs to get off the ice. You need to put someone else out there right now. You need to put another pair out there. Obviously, he's going to have some ice time, so obviously he's going to be out there for some time, but limit the time this dude is out there. He has been not good. He's probably going to screw up again, and it might cost us the game. I don't understand, man. Calvin DeHaan was just lazy trying to catch Philip Forsberg. Like, it looked like he wasn't even showing any effort. Thank goodness that when Forsberg tried to, he tried to get it in, and Lankinen makes the stop with this pad, but he gets out of his net for a bit. Thank goodness that there are some Hawk defenders that get back in time to be able to fend off Nashville so Lankinen can get back in his net, because if not, that's an easy goal in the back of your net. You cannot let this stuff up. This is how you lose hockey games. Right there. That needs to be minimized. That needs to be stopped. Right now. It needs to be fixed and just erased from the mindset. Right after they get it back in, and here comes Suter moving in, and he tries to make a nice nifty move on Saros, and he shuts the door. So Pius Suter gets a good chance here and just can't bury it. Unfortunately, Saros stays perfect on the day, but he wouldn't stay perfect for much longer. A little bit after Suter gets that chance, the fourth line comes out, and Hagel gets it to Carpenter, who gets it over to Camp. They cross the blue line. They've got a nice little thing going. Camp gets it over to Hagel, who gets a good lead pass to Carpenter. He can't bang it past Saros, but he's able to get the rebound and sneak it past him with the back of his stick somehow. And the Hawks have tied the game on a goal from Matt Carpenter. Our fourth line comes through to tie this game. A huge goal for Matt Carpenter. He has to feel ecstatic about that one. I must say that this fourth line has been very consistent. It was pretty much the line that really didn't change at all before the season started, because you had Camp, you had Carpenter, and you had Highmore to start the season. Not sure what happened to Highmore. I don't remember exactly, actually. But Brandon Hagel replaces him, and Hagel looks like he's been fitting in with the fourth line quite well. I'd love to see, more of Hagel. I want to see him, show off, that he can be on this team, because if I'm correct, he was on the taxi squad. So I was very impressed with the fourth line. The fourth line has been relatively decent. The third line, for a while, was our weakest point. with Kubalik, Suter, and someone else I can't remember. It's not. I can't remember at the moment. Probably because they're not on the line anymore, and they had to for some reason. So they've been shifting around the lines. A bit interesting. It's the fourth line's been the one that's basically been staying put most of this year because going into these two games, DeBrincat and Bokovic both got put on the COVID reserve list, so they had to do some more shifting with the lines. And that chemistry between Carpenter and Camp is still there. It looks like and they've brought Hagel in, and that fourth line is looking pretty tight. Obviously, not as nearly as skilled as someone like Kane is on the top pair or the top line, excuse me. But they've done a good job, and they're good at holding the fort. They may not produce many scoring opportunities or may not score often, but they're able to hold the fort and look really good at just keeping the other team from not scoring goals, which is, kind of the goal of the game. So, yeah, good on them. I'm liking what I'm seeing from the fourth line. So, after a very, very interesting couple of minutes, we get a bit of a dud of about 5-ish minutes. So, as the game progresses now, we're down at under 3.5 minutes to go, and Ryan Johansson has it behind the Hawks net, just basically sitting there. No one's trying to attack him. He's just sitting there waiting to find someone, and he finds Philip Forsberg, perfectly centered. And Lankinen shuts his one-timer shot down. A wonderful stop. Probably may have not been the best shot from Forsberg, but oh my goodness. Lankinen just holding the fort down. At this point, he's stopped over 30 shots and only let up one goal. He's looked great in this game so far, especially in this third period. This third period has been entertaining, and we got more hockey. We've got overtime, folks. And I kid you not, the entire first half of overtime, or not the full first half, about the first 2 minutes of overtime is all Hawks. And when I mean that, I mean the Predators did not even cross our blue line, I don't think. Maybe once. Maybe once they crossed our blue line in the first 2 minutes. It was all Hawks. Couple great chances from players around, and just unfortunate that we weren't able to capitalize on a couple of these chances because Saros looked like he was on his tail, and he was on his feet. He was constantly moving. The awareness from Saros to be able to keep all this out was just fantastic. And this is why Saros looks to be like the new guy for Nashville, because Rinne, he's starting to decline a little bit. I've started to notice that over the last year or two. They've started to put Saros in more, and it looks like Pekka Rinne might be coming close to his end. But they have a great goalie in Juuse Saros for the future, and he's going to be I have a bad feeling he's going to be a nightmare for the Hawks in future years. And then with under 2 minutes to go, Janmark moves it into the zone. He dishes it to Kane, and Kane knocks it off the goalpost, and it just comes out. Janmark trying to backhand it into the yawning cage, and he just missed the net. A perfect opportunity to down the Predators and finally get a win in overtime after being in 3 overtime games so far and losing them all. One of them to these guys, the very less than 24 hours prior, basically. That would have been really nice for the Hawks, but Janmark just can't bang it in, and that is really frustrating. That is something that he's going to be punched in the air about for days to come. Just about a minute left. A horrible turnover by the Hawks. It just kind of slowly rolls right on the stick of guess who? Roman Josi. Oh yeah, the guy who downed us yesterday. He moves in, and Lankinen gloves him and keeps the game going. Kevin Lankinen, despite not having that much action in overtime, stopped all the shots that he needed to. And with that, we're going to a shootout. Forsberg shot first for the Predators, and his shot just was kind of lame, honestly. He just kind of barged in there and just shot it on Lankinen. A relatively easy stop, I would say, for Lankinen, but a save nonetheless. That's great. Kubalik tries to get a little fancy, comes around the side, and he can't get it past Saros. It goes under him, but the shot was on target, but it got past Saros, but obviously it had altered its course, and it goes wide, so he can't bury it. Nothing after the one. And then Matt Duchene makes a nice play on Lankinen, comes in across and just roofs it. It's a bit unfortunate of a bounce. It goes off the post and in, or more or so off the bottom of the crossbar and in. Maybe even off the post and the bottom of the crossbar. I can't really recall. But I mean, regardless, it goes in the back of the net. Lankinen made his best after. That was a great play by Duchene. And now the Hawks are down in the shootout with Kane coming up. Now, I would say Kane got a little fancy, but I don't think that's the case. He usually is able to. He's very effective with all the stick handles he does. He usually does it. That's usually his style for shootouts. You know, a lot of the stick handles. I mean, we've seen some absolute mind blowers from Patrick Kane on the shootout, and this time he just couldn't convert. I mean, you're not going to get all of them. And usually Saros was able to snag this one from Patrick Kane. As it looked like if Saros had just a fraction less of a second, he probably wouldn't have gotten it or got all of it, and it may have still gotten in. Kane just barely can't get it, and now we're down to one more shooter. But first, Lankinen's got to make the stop on Ellis, which he does. It's now down to the man who couldn't bury the empty netter, Matthias Janmark. He kind of did exactly what Philip Forsberg, and he just barged in, took a shot, and Saros makes an easy save. Predators, they come out of this epic game, this epic defensive battle, this epic goalie showdown with a 2-1 victory. And the Hawks go to Nashville for a 2-game series, lose both games, but pick up 2 points in the process, which sometimes you look back and you say, well, we could have totally gotten 4 out of 4, but we were able to salvage 2 of 4, even though we didn't win a game. Bit of a disappointment for the Hawks here, but you can't say that Kevin Lankinen had a bad performance because they lost. Kevin Lankinen looked fantastic. I'll say it again and again. This is easily his best game as a pro. He looked absolutely phenomenal, and I'm so excited to see what he has in store down the line. So that's going to do it for me here. If you liked what you saw, hit that like button. Make sure you hit that subscribe button if you want to see more videos from me. And without further ado, I will see you all in the next video. See ya.